I'm Vani Kola, Managing Director of Kalaari Capital. We bring to you this Leadership in Crisis series so that we may collectively learn from others' success. COVID brings an unprecedented economic and health crisis that none of us anticipated. And as a venture capitalist, I see up close the severe impact this has on startups as well as large companies alike. While the job of a startup CEO was never easy, these times places extraordinary burden on every CEO in managing their businesses through this crisis to success. Leaders are remembered for how they handled tough times, more so than how they handled good times. So, I wanted to share with you some ideas from other leaders and how they managed through crisis. One of the most iconic leaders of our generation is, of course, Steve Jobs. So much has been said about him, and there is so much to learn from him. In 1997, I remember this so clearly, while I was living in Silicon Valley, in fact, quite close to Apple headquarters. Apple was in the news for all the wrong reasons. Most people predicted Apple's demise. Steve Jobs was brought back as a CEO as a last resort to see what could be done with this company that had lost its glory. So started the remarkable story of Apple's recovery. And I think there are lessons from it that are very applicable today to many leaders to consider. For a company 2 decades ago that everybody thought was going to die, how did it all happen? This transformation, in my opinion, Steve Jobs took 3 pivotal decisions to turn around this crisis very, very quickly. What were those decisions in 1997 that he did that we can learn from today? First, he did what he had to do to bring money into the company by setting his ego aside. The rivalry between Jobs and Gates, which of course was between Microsoft and Apple, was like, as they say, chalk and cheese. It provided media fodder. Of course, many books and documentaries have been written about it. They had such different schools of thought in how they built those two companies that the ongoing rivalry between these two companies, no one could have predicted reaching a truce. He created a partnership with Microsoft and brought $150 million into the company, setting his ego aside. This not only surprised many people, it shocked many of the Apple fans who in fact protested that this was selling out Apple's vision and Apple's soul.
I'd like to announce one of our first partnerships today, a very, very meaningful one, and that is one with Microsoft. So it's a package announcement today. We're very, very happy about it. We're very, very excited about it. And we have to embrace the notion that for Apple to win, Apple has to do a really good job. And if others are going to help us, that's great, because we need all the help we can get. And if we screw up and we don't do a good job, it's not somebody else's fault, it's our fault. The era of setting this up as a competition between Apple and Microsoft is over as far as I'm concerned. This is about getting Apple healthy, and this is about Apple being able to make incredibly great contributions to the industry to get healthy and prosper again.
Apple is famous for many things. In their early days and even today, they are famous for their emphasis on engineering, innovation, and design. Apple was an engineering company and they took pride in that. That also led to a company culture where engineers were demigods and they had latitude to come up with new ideas and create any products that they wanted. But in the 90s, when Apple had to be transformed and a new vision of Apple had to be established, there had to be a change to this culture for Apple to focus on fewer products and not on hundreds of products, diluting their market focus and their capacity to monopolize.
If we had 4 great products, that's all we need. And as a matter of fact, if we only had 4, we could put the A team on every single one of them.
This was a big cultural shift, almost an anathema to what Steve originally promoted. Apple became a company that focused on creating a few winning products and aligning all the resources of the company behind those products. Many times, a leader is the only one who can create massive cultural shifts in a company, and at times it may require the leader to go against what they believed in to begin with, or what worked at one point in time. If it doesn't work today, then to have the courage of conviction to lead the organization through change. A third thing I remember was the power of brand advertising, which is really the power of the brand itself. We associate Apple so closely with this tagline, Think Different. The Think Different campaign across every billboard in the country, closely spearheaded by Jobs, created a deep emotional connect among consumers who, of course, famously stood in lines to get first release of Apple products.
You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Every crisis remakes leaders by the power of their conviction, by their capability to communicate and lead people to follow shareholders, employees, customers on this journey of their conviction, their passion, and the vision that they see. And Jobs was master of communication. I think the lessons we can learn from him, from the choices he made, are timeless and applicable today ever more so, as companies need to be steered by strong leaders out of crisis into success. Thank you.